Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy, and this is our review for Snow White. Disney's Snow White is a live-action musical reimagining of the classic 1937 film, starring Rachel Zegler as Snow White and Gal Gadot as the Evil Queen. So I feel like with almost every Disney live-action adaptation, they try to do something a little different so that it stands, not only stands out, but stands apart from the animated classic, just to make it something a little different, with the exception of The Lion King, which I know was basically like a copy for copy. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But we're not here to talk about The Lion King. We're here to talk about Snow White. So in this one, and I think everybody kind of knew this already going in, so no one's caught off guard by, they really reimagined the tale of Snow White. Go ahead.
Yeah, you really kind of had to as well, because there wasn't really much of a movie kind of thing with the original Snow White. It was an animated film. It was the first of its kind. It was you had to really flush out a lot of things from the original to make it a modern day, to make it fit for a modern day audience. So they told us, there was going to be new songs, there was going to be kind of new storylines. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of new stuff that was going to happen in this movie.
Yeah, and they did a lot of it, and right away they established it that even the opening, yes, it opened on a book, like a classic Disney movie, which I did love that. There were other things that they really added in to make the story a little bit more full. One of the main things is Snow White and her love interest. In the original 1937 film, she hadn't really met the prince other than like one time during the, at the wishing well. Mm-hmm. And then after that, the second time he met her was when she had already bitten the apple. And even just for like story-wise, it wouldn't have worked out. In today's,
you needed to flush out
there
that
needed to be a little bit, there needed to be a
more.
little bit more. So they went ahead and they created a whole storyline for that, which really doesn't take away from the main story they're trying to tell, which is the kingdom is now being ruled by her stepmother, the Evil Queen, and she is very greedy. She wanted the power. She sort of relied on her beauty, and she just treated everybody basically like badly.
Yeah.
The citizens and her guards, she treated everyone badly, and Snow White saw that, and she wanted to change that.
The way that they kind of told this part of the story is like, okay, this is kind of like a nice little cookie cutter storyline to fit into this, because it's also kind of what we expect from a Disney movie.
Right.
So it's kind of like the tragedy that happens, how the queen gets set up.
So we started, I think, pretty good, and Rachel had her one big song. She has several songs throughout this, but only one of them was a solo.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, only one of them was a solo, and that was my favorite song from the movie. All the other songs that they put in, unfortunately, didn't stand out to me. They didn't really work lyric-wise or musically. Just none of it worked for me. I wanted to like them, but like I said, Rachel's solo was my favorite one. The only one that made sense for the story.
Yeah, and I have to admit, the songs that they do bring back do still have that catchiness to them, that tune, because it's a song that we are familiar with. Mm. But since they do change it up a bit...
Oh, you're talking about the dwarf song?
Well, the dwarf song, the Whistle While You Work.
Yes. Oh, okay. I did like that one, but I didn't count it because it wasn't one of the original songs. You're right.
Yeah. And then there was one more that it just slips my mind at the moment that I'm kind of like, okay, this is a way to kind of bring this song back up to an actual longer version of the original.
There's some changes that we were okay with, and then there's some other changes that unfortunately didn't really work for us. One of the most glaring things that we kind of talked about on our way home from watching the movie were the 7 dwarves. We already saw them in the trailer. We talked about how we felt about them in the trailer, and our feelings didn't change from that. I unfortunately don't think they look good, with the exception of Doc, for my eyes.
Yeah.
Doc, I thought, looked the best out of the dwarves, and it was just really distracting to watch. And I understand the story, the way they didn't really give us an exact origin of the dwarves, but they're magical.
Yeah, and there's
not like they cast spells, but they are magical creatures.
And they added a little bit of something, but they kind of left a lot of it dangling to where you're like, wait a second. what exactly are they? What exactly do they do? Where exactly? So it left a lot of like hanging questions in the air. So I guess if they ever make a sequel, we'll get maybe some backstory on it. But overall, I felt that that was kind of the common theme throughout the entire movie. Give us a little bit, but not really flush it out or make it kind of make it a cohesive thing. I felt like there was a lot of things that were very choppy, very kind of thrown in there to kind of explain a certain moment, but then not really fully explained.
Yeah, I say like about maybe by the end of Act 1, once they've established who is who, and the state of the kingdom that it's in, and no one is basically happy, but they're too afraid of the queen to speak up. And so after that, I feel like the movie just continued to go on a downhill track, at least for me, unfortunately. And I like wanted to have fun with this movie so much. And because of the choppiness of it, things that I felt like they were kind of put in there just so they could have a plot device.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
The convenience of a
right.
plot device.
So like that was really disappointing. I was also disappointed in the choreography. I saw the featurette, and it featured the choreographer Mandy Moore, like really well known, really good choreographer, and I was really excited after I saw the video. But then watching the movie, I feel like they didn't show off her choreography in the way that was filmed or framed at all, and it also kind of looked, I don't know, I'm gonna blame that on the cinematography. Like I felt like it was too close and we didn't get to see it. It wasn't like a full like pulled back wicked shot, if you will.
Yeah.
Because all you saw was like skirts flurry, but then they also put everybody in these really busy colors, which would have looked great in a wide shot, but it was so close that it was kind of all like muddy together. So that was also disappointing. I want to talk about Gal as the evil queen. I was so excited to see her play the evil queen because I feel like this was a role that she was going to get to have fun with aesthetically, and she checked off all the boxes for me aesthetically for the evil queen. And in the movie, they have her in various different outfits, and she killed every look. You cannot walk away from this movie and say she looked bad. She does not look, even when she was the hag, I was like, damn, she's pulling off the hag, you know? So, I mean, the hag, like, and they also, like, you couldn't tell that it was her, but it was fun to see the hag in live action. I also like how they did the hag. Unfortunately, her performance, it was like she was in a different movie than everybody else. She was a lot more dramatic. She had these really sharp head turns, almost kind of like that Mwahaha villain that we like to talk about.
Yes, Nightly Whiplash.
Yeah.
I felt too, that she was in a different kind of movie to where it was almost more of like a spoof off of that kind of a character.
Ooh, okay.
To where it was overly done. It was overly almost making fun of kind of the way an evil queen would be. She just didn't capture that either she wasn't really having fun on set, or
she didn't have a direct focus of what her character should have been. Because I will say this, going back to Act 1, where I thought they started off pretty strong, it was established that she was mean, she was manipulative, and she did not like Snow White. And it showed really, really well. She was really mean to Snow White. And then she had her song, which was not good. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I cringe.
They did put her in the classic queen outfit in that song, and she looked fabulous. But I didn't like the song. I didn't like that part of the movie. But after that, I felt like she lost grasp of what the character should have been, and it kind of flip-flopped between evil queen and then a parody of the evil queen.
Yeah.
And whether she wanted to be mean or like, it just wasn't focused for me. And then by the time we got to the end of it, which we won't tell you how she ends, but like it didn't make sense. It was weird, and it was one of those unexplained things that were like, okay, so this is happening, and you don't have to see the movie, unfortunately, to find out exactly what that is, because we're not going to tell you in this review.
It was a very much of a moment like, wait, why? Hey, what happened? It really left you just wondering what exactly is going on here. What are they trying to tell? And just, you didn't get anything from like the dialogue, from the interactions between the characters. There was just a lot of things that just left me hanging and left me desiring more. And I really felt like the script was lacking, the character interaction was lacking. Rachel Zegler did do an amazing job on her singing and on her musical performances. I thought the animals overall were kind of cute.
Oh, they were cute. They had
were
like
super
doughy eyes.
cute.
They looked kind of they weren't like Lion King kind of animals. They were like doe-eyed, like they looked like Snow White animals, but they were cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like all of the other characters were just very much caricatures of what they were trying to portray.
Yeah, and like I appreciate them trying to give like a refreshed tale of the classic, or try to reimagine the 1937 version of it. And the overall message is also like how you can bring the community together and fight for what you want. And I like that. And I like what they did with, like, after the Apple incident, that it wasn't just a person that she met briefly once, gave her a true love's kiss, and then she was remedied from the spell or from the poison apple, because it just wouldn't have made sense. And then that also would have made the movie really, really short. Like, problem solved.
Yeah.
But it just, a lot of it didn't work for me. Most of it didn't work for me.
And the relationship between Snow White and the
love interest,
let's leave it at that, just did not, it felt forced. It felt like it was kind of slapped in there and didn't quite make sense.
With that said, we're going to go ahead and give you our rating for Snow White. The movie couple rating is listed for you in the video description below. Look, I went in and I remember hearing the song. I had already seen the music video of Rachel Zegler's solo, or the original solo, and I knew I had already liked it, so I enjoyed that part going in. I like how they started it and what they established. I like Rachel's performance. I really can't say the same for Gal Gadot's performance, and that was actually, I think I was looking forward to seeing the Evil Queen on screen more than Snow White, just because I thought that Gal was going to make it interesting. She was going to have a lot of fun with it. But you know what? All the outfits looked really great. I was just hoping for more from the performance and the songs as well. Those were unfortunately not a hit with me. You guys already know how I feel about the dwarves. They were really distracting. I don't think they looked great, unfortunately. So I'm going to give this movie a skip it.
For me, I actually had a lot of the same problems. For me, it was a lot more of the dialogue, the character, the story structure that really just made me just not connect to this movie. And there were just some moments where I cringed, where I was like, oh my gosh, there was just some things that I just really did not like in this movie. So I'm going to have to be with Wendy on this, and I'm going to give it a skip it.
There you have it. Those are our thoughts on Snow White. Let us know your thoughts once you've seen the movie in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next review.